Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sanjana and this week I'm going to show you how to make Kathiyawadi Undhiyu. If you ask any Gujarati, they will tell you that Undhiyu is an expression of love. It is food that just captures the heart, the soul. It is made with so many different types of vegetables, all seasonal, and with so much love and attention and care. It is one of those dishes that is absolutely a labor of love. You will have to take some time over it and just put your heart and soul into it. And if someone makes you undhiyu, then you know that you have a special place in their heart, because this is just one of those dishes that brings people together, brings people around the table, you and your family, and you enjoy it together. And it's just one of those dishes that evokes so many memories for so many Gujaratis. If you haven't tried undhiyu before, then I implore you to please try it. It's fantastic, and this is the way my family makes it.
Let's start by preparing our baby aubergines for this undhiyu. These are later going to be stuffed, so in order to do that we need to slit the aubergine into quarters from the bottom, slicing to the tip but not all the way through. We need to form a cross just like this. Next up, some baby potatoes. Scrub them clean and then slit them in half lengthways, but again not all the way through. Now for some green bananas, also known as motoki. You'll need to slice off the tip and then cut them into halves or thirds, and then slit them in half lengthways. Cut them about 3/4 of the way through to make room for stuffing, but ensure that they hold together once the curry is cooked. It's important to note that these are not the same as regular eating bananas or plantains. Check out a local fruit and veg market and find the small green motoki popular in Indian and African cooking. Their texture is much more starchy and not sweet at all. They should be very firm, green and not yellow. In Gujarati, these beans are called valor or hyacinth beans in English. They're large flat beans and look similar to broad beans. We're going to use both the pods and the beans. To prepare them, first snap off the top, leaving one string side attached. Then gently pull down on that string so that the pods pop open, and then remove the beans. I like to keep some of the beans in the pods and take some of them out. In this plate I also have guvar on the top right. These are cluster beans and they've just been topped, tailed and then cut in half. These small beans look similar to valor and they're called surti papri, and they're prepared in exactly the same way as we did the valor. Here I have a white fleshed sweet potato, and this just needs to be peeled and then cut into rough chunks. The more common orange flesh sweet potatoes can be quite watery and turn soft upon cooking. This means they will squash easily, so white or purple flesh sweet potatoes work best for undhiyu. You can buy these in fruit and veg markets. This beast of a vegetable is called an elephant foot yam, or suran. There's no need to buy a whole suran for this recipe. Since they're quite large, you can buy halves and quarters in the veg market. To prepare suran for undhiyu, peel the outer brown skin with a vegetable peeler and cut it into rough chunks. The texture is a bit of a cross between a potato, sweet potato and cassava. For uniformity, try to keep the suran and sweet potato pieces around the same size. The last vegetable we need to prepare for our undhiyu are tindora. These are called ivy gourd in English, and to prepare them for undhiyu you just need to top and tail them. Once you've done this, simply cut them into quarters lengthways. These are like teeny tiny melons, and the skins are thin and flavour very subtle. Inside you'll find lots of small seeds, although far less moisture than most gourds. This means that once you cook the tindora they retain their crunch. Our next job is to prepare the stuffing for our undhiyu vegetables. In order to do this, we need to mix together some gram flour and coarsely ground peanuts, some garlic, ginger, chopped coriander leaves and stalks, turmeric, red chili powder, ground cumin and coriander seeds, salt, some sugar, a tiny pinch of baking soda which will help our vegetables cook evenly from the inside, some tomato paste, and finally pour over some smoking hot oil in order to bring the filling mixture together and temper some of those spices. After we stuff our vegetables, any additional stuffing masala is also added to the undhiyu gravy. It's packed full of flavour. Now all we need to do is stuff all of the vegetables we slit earlier. That's the aubergines, the mutaki, and the potatoes. Try not to pack them too tightly or try to force too much stuffing mixture into the vegetables, otherwise this is going to affect their cooking time. Growing up, we would always eat a form of stuffed vegetable curry on a Sunday. It was our typical Gujarati style Sunday lunch. Usually my mum would make bharelu shak or aku shak, which is simply a mixture of stuffed vegetables just like this. However, it differs from undhiyu in the fact that it's not as labour intensive and there aren't any muthiya or dumplings. Let me know if you'd like a recipe for this in the comments. One thing I like to do is to pre-cook all of my stuffed vegetables. Sometimes they can remain a little bit raw when we cook them directly in the sauce. Here's how we make the best methi muthiya for undhiyu. Add some gram flour to whole wheat flour, chili powder, sesame seeds, turmeric, some salt, pinch of baking soda to keep our dumplings nice and light, ginger, garlic, and our methi, also known as fresh fenugreek leaves, chopped, a small amount of oil. Use your hands to bring everything together, creating a breadcrumb-like texture. Then add water to make a dough. You'll want to knead the dough for about 3 or 4 minutes and then add another tablespoon of oil. Knead this for a further 2 minutes until your dough is soft and smooth. Once you've done this, you can cover it with a damp tea towel and allow it to rest for about 10-15 minutes. Divide the dough for the methi muthiya into about 25 portions. You can make them round or egg-shaped. Then heat enough oil for deep frying in a large wok or karai. The temperature of the oil should be around 170 degrees Celsius or 340 degrees Fahrenheit. Deep fry the muthiya for around 5 or 6 minutes until they're golden on the outside and cooked all the way through. You'll have to taste test one of them, which is the best job. Drain them on a plate lined with absorbent kitchen towel and set them aside to cool completely. Now in our methi infused oil, we'll want to deep fry the suran. Cook it until it's about 75% of the way cooked or al dente, not completely mushy and not completely raw. This batch took about 6 or 7 minutes. Repeat the same process and apply the same principles to the sweet potato. For me, the sweet potato took about 4 minutes. The last thing we need to fry for our undhiyu are the tindura, and I like to do them until they're golden and crispy, just for flavour. To make the sauce, first heat some oil in a large pan or casserole dish. Add some black mustard seeds and then allow them to crackle and pop. Once they finish popping, you can add in some cumin seeds, ajwain or carom seeds, a large dried Kashmiri chili, sesame seeds, and finally some chopped green garlic shoots. These are completely optional, and if you can't find them, feel free to substitute with a couple of cloves of fresh garlic. We'll just saute this for a minute before adding in some blended fresh tomatoes, as well as some ground turmeric and salt. Bring this to a gentle simmer and then cover and cook for around 10 to 12 minutes over a medium heat. I wish you could smell this Gujarati delight. The aromas are mind-boggling. Now for some jaggery. This is unrefined cane sugar and you can buy it at your local Asian supermarket. If you can't find it, then simply substitute it with light or dark brown sugar. Now here's an interesting step. We're going to take a couple of our methi muthiya and crush them to a coarse powder. Not only will this add amazing flavour to the sauce, it will also help it to thicken. I use my fingers just like this, but if you like, you can also pop them into a blender. Remember that we only want to do this with around 3 of the methi muthiya. And here is our reserved stuffing mixture that we saved from the vegetables. Now let's make this dish. start layering up your vegetables, sprinkling the powdered Methi na Muthiya and stuffing mixture in between your additions. There's not really a right or wrong way of doing this, so just make sure that everything is evenly spread out. As you can see, I'm just sprinkling the Methi na Muthiya and filling mixture in between. Finally, we're going to top this with our Methi na Muthiya. I've been super generous with the number of Methi na Muthiya in this recipe because I always find that people want more and more and more. Now just give this all a gentle wiggle and shimmy around in the pan, trying not to move anything too much in case it breaks. Last bit of filling mixture and Muthiya, pop the lid onto the pan and then cook this undhiyu over a low heat for around 20 to 25 minutes. Now this is going to be our final tempering. For it, I'm going to pour some oil into a small pan, a couple of dried bay leaves, asafoetida, also known as hing, some dried Kashmiri red chili powder for mild flavour and a beautiful colour. As soon as the chili goes in, you can switch the heat off and just give everything a really good stir. Pour this gorgeous red tadka all over the top of your cooked undhiyu. It's so sizzly and beautiful. You can shuffle some things around for presentation purposes if you like. Finally, some garnishes in the form of our staple chopped coriander and some luscious freshly grated coconut. And that's it, our beautiful Kathiyawadi Undhiyu done home style in the easiest way I know how, and it is so delicious. I hope you love it.